Welcome to New Writer Podcast, Episode 6. I'm your host, Matt Brotherton, and with me tonight is upcoming author and graphic designer Hector Manuel Elias Oliver.
Hey. Hello, Matt. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you for coming on. I really have been trying to get more interviews that aren't just myself and my brother arguing over whatever on the internet, so thank you very much for being here.
No, I actually I'm pretty happy to hear. Really.
Hey, so you are actually in the early stages of your career as an indie author.
Yes.
I know you're working on a new serial,
Yes.
and you have a high fantasy novel that you have backburnered, and I'd like to talk a little bit about that later, about trashing your darlings, because I've gone through something very similar recently. So
Yeah, I'd be happy to.
yeah, why don't you start by telling us a little bit about yourself, what you're writing, maybe when you're going to be releasing?
Sure. Well, about myself. I've been writing since I don't know. I think sixth grade in elementary school, and just as a pastime, I always thought about it as a hobby. And during high school, I met this teacher who inspired me completely, and he's actually the reason I want to become a full-time writer. And I don't know. It's just I'm sorry. I got a bit lost. Okay, what was the question again? About myself and what?
You're doing fine.
Sorry, I'm a bit nervous.
That's okay. I think all of us have that one teacher. I know for me, I've written a blog post about it, but it's that one teacher who just kind of pushed you towards doing something that everyone else kind of told you was never going to happen.
Yeah, definitely. And that was with my friends, my family, who were like, "Oh, it's great you like to write, but what other things do you want to do?" Like, they kind of understood that I wanted to be a writer, but I was always taught that it was more like a hobby than actually professional. And yes, it was this teacher who was like, "Go full ahead, do it. If that's what you like, go ahead." And yeah, that's something I like. It's my passion.
I think all of us have had that too. That we had to have that breakthrough into saying, no, it's okay to do this.
Yes.
So right now, I know you told me in the email that you're working on a new serial.
Yes.
So why don't you tell us about that?
Sure. Well, first, I'm kind of new to the concept of serials. Like, I'd say like 6 months ago, I only saw it as writing full novels, and that was until I found the self-publishing podcast with. Actually, I was just searching through Kickstarter, and I found the Fiction Unboxed project. I joined. I loved every single bit of it, and that was an introduction to Sean, Johnny, and Dave. And I had never heard of them. I started watching the podcast. I saw how they wrote the serialized format, and it was kind of mind-blowing to me. It was something completely new. I had never seen that. Then I saw in Google Plus someone shared a video called "How to Write a Novel," I think, or "How to Write a Book" by Garrett Robinson, and I learned so much about the serialized format that I was like, I want to try this. So right now I'm writing a serial called Fallen Skies. Some people say it sounds like Falling Skies, a TV show, but it's completely different, and well, it's just a working title. But yeah, and writing that serial, it was actually intended to be a standalone novel. I had this idea, I guess, like two years ago, and it was one story I started writing for NaNoWriMo, but I had to drop it out for personal reasons, and I had that idea burning back in my mind, and I wanted to take the project again. So yeah, with this new format, I was like, yeah, I want to turn it into a serial, not just a novel. I think I can make a better job like this. So it's the actual story is set in on Earth, but in the future, kinda post-apocalyptic. There wasn't this like large event that was a whole world destruction. It's set more like a combination between science fiction and fantasy. It's well, the main idea is that in 2014 or 2015, um, the it was discovered or revealed that magical creatures or things we read about actually exist, and they're just hidden alongside with humans. Some people call it glamours or different. There's different names on how they hide. Um, and the idea is that when this was discovered, there was kind of like chaos, and some people tried to understand, others hated on the idea that they actually exist. Like people were afraid, but the idea that I had is that people started to realize that perhaps their neighbor was all along a werewolf, or their best friend is really I don't know, a fairy. So they kind of like hooked into this idea that they can actually coexist, and that this brought new new horizons to medicine, technology. Like there were many advancements, but for different reasons, people started. There was groups started uprising that they hated these creatures, that they were not natural, or things like that. With this, which caused that several years into the future, the magical folk would be outcasts, and there's this group of people called hunters that they're like kind of like bounty hunters, and they get bounties by hunting down these creatures, and the serial will be um, about one person trying to survive in this world that's kind of like overrun by this problem.
So it's it's about one of the magical people trying to survive being hunted and the lack of resources available, and
Yes. Yeah,
so
kind of like that.
it's kind of post-apocalyptic, but it's from the point of view like society does still exist, except for these people are forced out of it. Would you say that's kind of what you're?
Yes, well, and because I do get into a lot of robots, automation, like due to the advancements made with the magical people, the magical creatures. Um, Within the years, it led to normal people losing their jobs. That's like the, let's say, cyborgs take over the world kind of scenario. Not completely, but like all kinds of people are desperate, and there's
So it's kind of fantasy cyberpunk, like a Shadowrun kind of scenario, but not necessarily like the mega corporation, corporate espionage stories you would see with what Shadowrun normally would focus on, but like that kind of magic and high technology, but you're looking at it from the point of view of the everyday people on the ground.
yes, definitely, yes, that's it exactly.
as I, that intrigues me. I love like I read a lot of urban fantasy,
Mhm.
and several of the big series of urban fantasy all focus on that like post masquerade world. Like the Alana, the Kate Daniels books by Alona Andrews is like that, but none of them really focus on like the everyday lives of people. The genre in general focuses on like this one mythic crime fighting hero. So that's really like I will check that out when you publish. I will
Thank
definitely
you.
give it a read.
Yeah, thank.
So are you planning on writing the entire? I know a lot of serials are broken down into seasons, or Garrett's Nightblade series is called volumes. I know.
Yes.
Are you planning on writing the entire volume before you release any of the individual parts, or?
Mm, I'm not actually sure. I think I would like to release individually, kind of like Garrett does it with Nightblade. Um, yeah, yes, I wasn't. I'm not completely sure because it's my first time doing something like that. I, um, I have broken down the story into episodes and outlined the episodes, but I think I will be releasing each episode separately, and at the end I would release the whole volume or series or season. Yeah.
So are you doing the standard 6 episodes a season, or are you 8, 35? How many individual pieces are there?
I broke it down to six, but I want to make the sixth episode, the end, be twice as long than a regular episode.
And how long are each individual part going to be? I know there's a huge amount of variance there from
Mhm.
series to series. So
I'm aiming at 10,000 words per episode.
all right, yeah, that I could see that. And see, that's my question was because I know you mentioned that you do NaNoWriMo, and it is just around the corner from when we're recording this interview, and even closer because I think this is going to go up on Wednesday. So it is right here, right around the corner from
Yes.
us right now. And I was wondering if you were planning on writing your entire serial out during NaNoWriMo.
No, actually, during Nano, I want to write another story I had for a while, and well, I started writing it. Then I started learning, I started reading books about how to increase your word count or stuff like that.
Mhm.
And I learned that it's most important to the pre-production of the book, like outlining, and I started doing that. I enjoyed a lot outlining. I have an outline of that. It will be a novel, a short novel, and I have the outline ready, and I want to work on that while for NaNoWriMo.
I tried so hard, and every time I start a new project, I try again to be an outliner. I will create an outline, and I'll go, "This is a pretty good set of beats," and then I'll start writing, and I will decide that I have to throw everything away because it just does not work for me at all.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's yeah. For me, I used to be like how they call them pantsers, like just sit
Mhm.
down and start writing. I used to be like that, and then actually learned a lot from Fiction on Box how Sean and Johnny did with the beats. I was unaware of the beats concept. I had never um, heard something like that, and now that they released the uh, Scrivener for writing bits, I don't remember how the videos are called,
They're,
and
I think they're on Udemy.
yeah,
Scrivener for Beats, I think, is what
yeah,
the name of
Scrivener for bits.
the lessons are.
It's I loved it. I personally found it really helpful, and that's the method I'm going with. I write beats, and it has worked for me.
I know so many people who it does really work for. I think outlining versus pantsing versus like the 100 other methods for creating a
Yeah.
storyline. I think it's so up to the author to find what works best for them.
Oh yeah,
And
definitely.
when people ask me how I get a story put together and how I work so fast, I'm like, first of all, I don't think I work fast because I compare myself to guys like Sean and Johnny who write like
Yeah.
machines. Um, but I always say if you're having trouble if you're struggling with that, you should try the beats system or the snowflake method. And I think the snowflake method to build your beats and then just go is another, like a little hybrid system.
Yes, actually, I before finding about the self-publishing podcast, I started using the Snowflake method, and right now I'm kind of combining both. So yeah, it's like what fits most to your workflow.
I learned. I was on vacation this last week, so I spent a lot of time away from my normal job trying to figure out exactly how I write best. And what I've learned is the couple of tips is I open like a notepad document, not a Scrivener file or a Word or anything, just a normal notepad,
Yeah.
and I write 2 or 3 paragraphs, kind of just saying, this is what I would like to see happen when I'm writing today. And then I switch to Scrivener and just start going. And when I hit that spot where I'm stuck again, I flip back to the notepad and just jot down like whatever's in my mind, and like a refocusing of the beam. So it's not really like writing beats out in advance, but it's more like writing a couple of beats and then writing those, and then writing a couple of beats and then writing those.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's interesting. Um,
Like I said, I think every writer ends up finding their own little, their
yes,
own
definitely.
solutions and strategies, and sometimes we just have to trick ourselves into doing the work.
Yeah. Yeah, it's you need to find a way of how to motivate yourself.
Yeah, but in chair time is definitely the most important part, I think. And putting down World of Warcraft, that's the other thing for me.
Yeah.
So we're going into Nano. Do you have a strategy? Are you one of those people who does the 1667 every single day, or are you going to try to hammer out 30,000 words over the course of the first weekend?
I think I will rely a lot on the first weekend. That's why I'm using this next week to completely pre-planning, because I will have a really tough November. Like I've tried Nano before, and it didn't work out because November is due. I'm still in college, so uh, November is final exams, or I'm a graphic design major, and projects, and they're really time consuming. Besides that, this November I have several events out of town, so I'll be a week in New York, and I'll be a weekend in Las Vegas. And I'm like, no, screw it. I want to, even though I have this restriction, I want to try it. So I'll be like getting a really strict schedule for writing during the week, trying to write around I think the number was 2,200 words per day. It's like an average for the missing days I will have. I will try to write on my trips, but it will be a bit daunting, difficult. And the first weekend, I will I will dedicate my whole weekend to writing, like because I really want to make it, and I know it will be really really hard because of school and these events, and but I'm gonna give it my best, I guess.
It's one of those things where you're like, it doesn't actually mean that much. Like the actual like NaNoWriMo competition, you win some discounts and the ability to buy a T-shirt that says you won NaNoWriMo. but it's like it's so important at the same time. Like
Yes.
you have to do it for yourself.
Yeah, I know it's a personal thing. Like I know I don't have to. I won't really win anything if I type the 5,000. No, I'm sorry, 50,000 words in a month. But I want to. I really want to accomplish it. It's a goal, and
I know how you feel too, because I was like, I try to also hit the April and June events where you do it's the same thing. In April and June they have this, you can go on their site and there's like Camp Nano, and
yeah.
you can use the tracker and everything, but it has abs like there is nothing, like I have no reason when I'm doing that to work beyond my normal work schedule anyway. But come November I'm like, I have to do this now.
Yeah, and like I said, I tried it before and I haven't been able to accomplish it. And when I joined the Fiction Box has inspired me a lot. The whole event. Then I'm working. I don't know if you talked to Eric Pierce before me, but the Dream Engine anthology called Beyond the Gate.
He and I are gonna be talking next week.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm also one of the writers in the anthology. So,
Jamie Maltman is in that
yeah.
anthology. Was my very first ever guest.
Oh yeah,
So,
actually, I saw his episode. It was pretty fun, pretty entertaining. I liked it a lot.
well, thanks.
Yeah, I saw it last night.
He actually he's on the To Be Read podcast now.
Yes.
Yeah, I really enjoy that show. I've had two of the three of those guys on. I'm hoping to get Patrick in the future. And now you're number two from the Beyond the Gates anthology. It makes me want to run the trifecta there too and get all you guys.
No, it's a really I like that community a lot. It's been great working with them. I think I had never been in such. I have never been or had any experience like that. So it was really important to me. And like I said, Fiction Box, the anthology project, and then I've been able to talk a lot with Gary Robinson, and those three things have inspired me a lot. So I was like, no, this year, this is my year. I will make NaNoWriMo happen. Like it's my writing year for
I
so to
have
speak.
faith in you. I think you can do it.
Thank you.
Say this is my fourth year doing it, and I've only won twice.
Oh, you've made it. So
Yeah. This year I'm going to try to do it like probably the first week. I spent this last week off writing close to 10,000 words every day, and I've gotten this like
wow.
addiction. I was off work, so I don't want to. I was writing 8 hours a day, which is not normal for me. So, but I was like, I want to do it. I want to do it now. Like I want that stamp again,
Yeah.
But
That's amazing. 10 a day. Wow.
well, it really comes down to like I said, it is. I mean, 6 to 8 hours of solid writing time. So it's not like I'm busting out super fast words per hour or anything like that. It's just I'm a big believer that anyone can write 10,000 words a day if they force themselves to sit at their computer until they've written 10,000 words in a day.
Yeah.
But that's not here or there. That's there's also the third draft of a book I was working on. So I mean, there's a lot of work, pre-work that went into that. I do not want to make it sound like any means like I'm a fast writer.
No, but yeah, it's true. If you force yourself, you can make the 10,000 words a day. But it's still, well, at least for me, it's like a huge accomplishment, like being able to do so.
It feels really good, even if you're not able to do it all the time. When you on that one day you do it, it becomes just like it's like this amazing. You want to like have a press release like. I wrote more than 2,000 words today, you know. But on the other side of that coin, though, is I always advocate Chuck Wendig's his plan on how to write a novel is 52 weeks a year, 5 days a week, 350 words a day. I'm like, that's a novel a year. So I'm like,
Oh wow.
if you just spend a little bit of time doing it, you'll get it done. You don't have to write fast. That's not something people have to do.
Yeah.
I think we as indie authors put more emphasis on the amount of production. I think we put a lot of emphasis on getting a lot of work done very quickly, and we forget that that's not necessarily the best way. Yeah. So you're a graphics designer also, and I am a very, very amateur graphics designer. Like, I spend a lot of time doing very simple things like my overlay here. So tell me, are you doing your own book covers? Are you doing other people's book covers?
I have made like mock-up book covers. Like for example, for the different stories I've done. For the serial I'm working on, I made a sketch. I also submitted a cover for the anthology, which didn't make it, but I'm still pretty proud. I liked a lot how it came out, and I don't know. I think I'll be trying out making covers for my stories, but it will depend on my end product. If I really like how it came out, I'll keep it. If not, I'll probably search for other way. Like, I have many friends who are the graphic designers. I could work with them, or I've been also thinking about 99 Designs. So I don't know. I think it would depend on how my design ends.
Yes, that's when I decided I was going to go the indie path and not spend years querying agents. I decided that if I was going to do it, I was going to have to master all of the skills. And I am like a doodler. Like, I draw cartoony, like really silly, poor anatomy cartoons.
Yeah.
And so like I have some experience using. I use GIMP. I don't have Photoshop, but so I had a lot of experience with that and just playing around with that. And I was like, I can learn to do covers. And my covers for like the Seven Keys books are really, really simple. They're just a silhouette or two silhouettes. And those take me like 10 hours to do. and now that I've done 3 of them, I'm like, I wish I had hired somebody.
Well, it's a matter of preference. Actually, personally I do think a cover is really, really important. I know some people perhaps don't give so much credit to a cover, and there was way before I got into graphic design. I've been an avid reader since pretty young, and when I'm at the bookstore, like they say, people don't judge a book by its cover. No, I completely judge a book by its cover. But not always. If a friend of mine recommends me a book and it has an awful cover, I don't care. I'll probably read it. But
I think covers are extremely important, and I totally judge a book by its cover. But I think most modern books have horrible covers.
Yeah, I've seen some not pretty good covers. Some going way over the top, some being just too simple. Well, I guess it depends on the book. Actually, it's because some books can keep a simple cover and they will look amazing, and some books have a simple cover and it just doesn't work. So I don't know. There's some books that don't have really good covers, but
I think it depends on the genre a lot also.
Yes.
Because I think urban fantasy as a genre has horrible cover design. But if you don't follow the horrible cover design rules, no one
Looks
will read your
weird.
book. You know?
Yeah, it will stand out, but perhaps not the way you want it to.
Yeah. And that's when I designed my covers, I was like, I am not going to have that cover. Like, I am not going to have a woman with a midriff and a lower back tattoo wielding a broadsword on the cover of my book. It's just not going to happen. And I think I notice that people, I love my covers, and a lot of when I ask people, like, should I change my covers, they're always like, no, I like your covers. But I'm like, it does not fit with the rest of my genre, and I think that is the more important part. Your cover cover art. I don't think is art. Cover art is advertisement for advertisement's sake. It's not art for art's sake. It's art for advertisement's sake. So you have to follow those rules, I think, and it drives me insane because I'm like, covers should be beautiful. They should reflect the work.
I think the same way. Like I said, I do judge a book by its cover, but I also sometimes I try to give it a chance and start reading at least the first chapter or something like that, because yes, definitely there are some books that have horrible covers. And actually, last night I was browsing the NaNoWriMo forums and I found this link to a website called Lousy Book Covers, and dear God, and they're published books. People have published their novels with those covers, and you can find them on Amazon. And
there are books. There are books on that list that go, "This is why I do not draw cartoons for my own covers." There are books on that website whose covers look like they were drawn by a fairly talented fifth grader.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they're not. I mean, it's very juvenile art, and I suppose that if you're writing for fifth graders, that might have an appeal. But not all of those books are indie published either. There's a lot of traditionally published books on that website.
Really, I just browsed it for a while, and dear God, and I'm not saying that I would do a better job. I'm not, but well, I wouldn't publish that. If I made those covers, I wouldn't publish them. I would look for somebody else. So
that's what I say. I'm not saying I would do a better job, and I probably wouldn't do a better job for most of those covers. But yeah, I'm right with you. I was like, if I did that and then that was all I had, I would find someone else to do it for me.
Yeah, and that's actually that's what I'm gonna try with my books. I'll try to make a book covers because I really enjoy making book covers. I've made different covers for just stories. I enjoy doing it, and I'll try. But if I'm not, I don't like my final result, I will definitely.
Do you ever find yourself just playing around with different sometimes I'll be like, okay, I just want to play around with GIMP for a little while just to get my mind away from other stuff, and then I'll make I've made this really great, beautiful, I think it's amazing, sci-fi zombie style cover, and for a book that I will never write.
Yes, it has definitely happened, and I actually do like doing that because it's practice, at least for me. I don't know if I was asked by somebody to try to work on their covers, which I will, but I haven't had the time because he said I won't publish until I think he said 3 months or something like that. So that helped me a lot because I've had lots of work with school. With the anthology, I was working on the cover for the anthology plus writing the story. So I haven't tried it, but I think it really helps me out, for practice.
Yeah. Have you ever thought this is? I gotta say, when I do it, 1 out of every 20 covers that I come up with is worth sharing. So I've never really considered seriously doing it, but have you ever thought about selling pre-made covers?
Yeah. I entered to a 99 Designs contest, and I loved the cover. I loved how it ended up. There was a problem with the contest that the how to say it, the guy who made the contest said that the description was wrong and many things had to change. So I have that cover made. Possibly, I would actually like to see it on a book, perhaps on DeviantArt or a website like that, because I really enjoyed it. I liked it a lot. How the final product, I liked it.
See, and that's what I'm like. That's the way I am with this one particular sci-fi cover. I mean, I was like, I don't write sci-fi. I will never write a book to use this cover. But I was like, I really really like it, and I would love to see someone use it as a cover. And if I throw it out there and say, hey, $25, it might not ever sell, but someday down the road, I might be $25 in my pocket.
Yeah, definitely. Like this one, these cover, it's like a motivational book. It's called How Free Will Works. I I don't think I would ever write a well, I don't know. Perhaps in the future I will write something like in that genre, but at least for now I've been mostly on fiction. Like I'm a fiction writer, so I don't think I will have a use for that book. At
Yeah.
least not right now.
Well, Hector, I hate to end our conversation, but we are coming up on the 30-minute mark.
Oh
So
well.
I've really enjoyed talking to you, and we should do this again sometime in the future.
Yes, definitely.
Um, is there anything you would like to tell the audience before we disconnect?
Um, I don't know. It's well, it's been pretty fun actually. It's the first time have I've used Hangouts actually. It's my first time in like sorta an interview, and I don't know. I don't know what else to say.
Well, everybody who's watching at home or reading or listening to this, following along on their podcast. Hector is going to explode huge in the near future. He's got a story in the Beyond the Gates Anthology, which I think is going to be just an insane bestseller. I have this feeling it's just going to be a big book. So
Thank you. You're so nice.
everybody keep an eye out for Hector because he is going places. And then there will be a time in the near future where he's like, I won't be on your silly little show.
No, I would love to come back.
Thank you for being on this afternoon. If you guys have enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe or comment below. We're also available on iTunes and would love to see a review. Thanks everybody for watching. Thank you, Hector, for being on. Have a good night.
Good night.